welcome to the Rundlett and Baldacci Report. Hope you folks had a great summer. We get a lot of hits on our show about Palestine and Israel. We had two wonderful men brought up in Palestine, knows all about it. And what they basically said is that this is something that just can't be cured overnight. And they also accurately predicted that it would get worse before it got better. And now look what's happening. That will be one of the issues that we're going to discuss tonight, because tonight's topic is election 2024. As my co-host Rob Baldacci and two fantastic guests tell us what they think is going to happen in the next election. Rob, introduce our guests.
Well, these guys don't need any introduction, but David Jones, the owner of F.O. Bailey Real Estate, one of the oldest companies in the United States, right?
Yep,
And
one of 72.
Was on the Republican Platform Committee for
Yes.
this recent Republican National Convention,
Right.
and also was a delegate for Donald Trump.
Correct.
And you are sort of the guy in Maine for the former President Donald Trump.
Well,
Is that fair?
I've been a Trump guy since, for 30 years. So to say I'm the guy, no. I mean, I'm one of the many, many, many people that are going to vote for Donald Trump.
Okay.
Right.
That's good.
And
my very good friend, Ethan Strimling. And Ethan, former mayor of Portland, former state senator, a real advocate for our communities here in Maine,
Yes.
and been a passionate supporter of what's right, Democratic Party, and for Kamala Harris.
And Rob,
yes.
also, he has the distinction of being the only man since 1824 to have an eviction case before a jury.
That's right.
Actually, you want to
And
know
won.
something? And won it.
And won.
Yeah.
But I asked him, I said, this was at a jury trial? And that must have been under some statute written when Ben Franklin was in the Declaration.
A long time ago.
But Ethan, and the judge was John O'Neill, correct?
Judge
The
O'Neill,
former
yeah.
president of the Maine trial lawyers, wonderful judge, just a great guy. And I just want to congratulate you for that.
Yeah, congrats.
What's interesting about that is that it was actually the first case in Maine in which a tenant won against their landlord on the issue of organizing a tenant union.
Right.
There is this provision in law that was put in 40 years ago that had this little thing that said you can't evict somebody if they, basically organize a tenant union.
Right.
And it was put in there when Barry Hobbins was chair of the what was then the housing committee at
Wonderful
that time.
lawyer, Barry Hobbins.
And I called him up. He had no recollection of it. It probably got slipped in some big omnibus bill,
Wow.
but it was the first time it had ever been used, and we actually won. And so we want to make sure tenants are aware that if you form a union, your landlord can't kick you out for it.
Well, Barry, I can tell you, Ethan, what's happening now throughout the country. If you started a movement, because it's going to be national news that Los Angeles is going to have more unions, tenant unions, than any other state, and they're going to be
Exactly right.
case.
Yeah.
I hope
David,
so.
I'm gonna start
There's
off
the
with you,
precedent,
buddy.
right?
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm going to start off with you.
Election 2024.
Right. This is my question. Right out of the blocks here. What person, if any, either did not stop Trump from writing "I hate Taylor Swift," or what was going on in that man's mind when he wrote that? David, that is the one enigma that I have right now.
Well, you're not the only one. I mean, everyone said, what the hell did he do that for? But, that's Trump. Trump's Trump, and you can't stop that. He's spontaneous. He says what he thinks. He's like many normal working men and women here in this country. They say what they think, and he said it. He was on air, and of course, it's going to be one of those things they're going to hear about forever.
Right. I'm going to point blank this one with you because I really love your support of him. If you were in the room and they're talking about that issue after she announces for Kamala, would you have said, Mr. Trump, please? Do not say you dislike her. Just say I like her. She's a good person. I wish she'd say me. But to say I hate Taylor Swift, knowing that in my opinion, and this was said 5 months ago, Taylor Swift I think is going to swing this election for Kamala Harris.
Well, you say I don't believe her. Most of the people that follow her don't vote anyway. So that's she's got a voting block. I have no doubt, but I don't think it's going to swing the election.
Ethan, what do you think?
I think he's right. I don't think it's going to sway the election. I think it was a dumb tweet, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I care more about the fact that Donald Trump said, immigrants are increasing the crime rate in this country, that they're eating animals
cats.
and eating cats, and that he's going to undo health care programs that are going to
Has
protect
anybody
working
eaten
class
cat?
people. So,
Is there anybody
and I
really
think, Derry,
has eaten
that's
a cat?
important. You got to get to the issues, right? We
thank
get
you.
distracted by all this stuff with Taylor Swift.
That's what you're taking the bait.
Right. I know, you're taking the bait when you go there. That's where I'm like, look,
That's
I don't
it.
care about that.
Yeah,
There's
we're
nothing
talking about
bait.
the issues.
Let's
That's
talk
what-
about the
yeah.
issues.
David just said that Donald Trump's just a normal working class guy, right? Nothing could be further from the truth. This is a
Exactly.
guy who inherited $200 million.
40
The day he
million,
started-
but it's not
100
200. It's
Sorry,
40
actually
million.
171 million. It just came out.
I heard it was
is what-
400 million, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
171.
Believe
in the
none of
book
what
Yeah,
you
what's
hear.
a few
came out about-
million? What's a few million?
Whether
Go
it's
ahead.
40 million or 171 or 400 million.
He parlayed that over to billions,
Who
for God's sake.
has access to that kind of money, right? You start with that kind of money, obviously you're going to build it up. He's gone bankrupt 100 times. This is a guy who
He's gone-
doesn't
no, he filed
understand
bankruptcy
a single working class
Four
person.
times, all right, on 4 different businesses out of 500 businesses that he runs. So you get your facts right.
I think
Yeah,
But he's
well,
also had a
right.
number of things foreclosed. He's had lawsuits filed
Look,
against
look, it's like
Trump
anything.
University.
You don't strike out unless you
Well,
get
yeah,
up to
I
bat.
understand. I
Babe
know.
Ruth struck
We're
out
in
more
business.
times in history than anybody else,
and,
right? So
David,
think about it.
all I'm saying is he's not a
Fair
working
enough.
class guy, right? There's
Well,
nothing working class about him. That's all.
No,
I'm
but
referring to
he's
here.
a working man's
Whether he
built-
understands working people or not,
yeah.
who knows?
That's it.
But
He's the working-
he's not a working class guy. This is a guy who was, born with a silver spoon in his mouth on third base. Thinks he hit a triple.
Well,
It's okay to
and-
be born with a silver spoon.
I didn't say it wasn't. Just don't pretend you aren't.
Exactly.
Don't
Or
pretend you're
try to
somebody
be a
else.
man of
Because
the people.
I was about to say, I think I was born with a David, you actually, see, you knew him before he was in politics. Brenda Lee knew him, Wink Martindale, Sandy Martindale, the people that are friends of mine that are very fond of him, that were Wayne Newton, that were with him far long. And
Oprah Winfrey loved him. Oprah Winfrey wanted him to run for president.
And what does she think
Jesse
now?
Jackson,
Yeah, exactly.
she
What
wished
is-
she never
what
got
does she
involved
think
in politics, I think, is what it boils down to. But, the bottom line is that Donald Trump was at the top of that escalator. And if he had come down that escalator and he said, I'm a Democrat, he'd have been God. But no, he came down and he said, hey, I'm a Republican. And all of a sudden he grew horns on the back of his head and now nobody likes him.
David,
Right? But they
I've
don't
never
like
heard
the
it-
things
I
he
don't think
did.
I've never heard
reason,
it
David.
point that way.
It's the
That's
truth.
fantastic.
David,
Rob,
he
go
came
ahead.
down. David, he came down the escalator and he started attacking immigrants and minorities.
As he
Day
should
one.
have.
What? Okay.
He should have attacked
As he
immigrants?
should have.
Dave.
The problem we have with our borders, if you don't have borders, you don't have a country. It's the bottom line. All right, you don't see people.
does that have to do with immigrants?
The bottom line is
No,
there's-
David, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about he attacked immigrants. He called Mexicans rapists. They aren't.
He,
Right?
he
Are you-
said
are you-
that they're
are you gonna sit here
rapists.
and
They're
say-
emptying their jails. They are. Come on, if you don't want to see it, turn a blind eye to it. That's up to you.
David, walk out the door. You telling me that the immigrants in this city have made the city worse?
I can't answer to that.
I
all right?
can. I can. As the former mayor of this city.
No, but
let me tell you something. As the
David,
former
I
mayor
think
of
you're
this
wrong.
city-
Let him talk.
Well, I'm wrong about what?
Joshua is a friend of mine. He's the head of the Black Chamber of Commerce, and I've been invited to several of their meetings. I've talked with these guys. They love America, and they love Trump. Now, why do they love Trump? Why is it that the people that come here, they're seeking to become, be part of our capitalist country? We're a capitalist country. We're not a socialist country, as maybe you might like it to be. But the bottom line is that you come here, there's opportunity for people.
Yeah.
They come here because of
Safety,
the opportunity
opportunity.
that's
Exactly.
presented to them. Then they're asking me. I was at this meeting. I couldn't believe it. Probably 100 people there, all from all over the world. Somalia, Uganda, Burundi, everywhere you could ever imagine. Right. They live here in Portland, and they're like, what is happening to this country? We came here for one thing, and we're getting the stuff that
What are
we...
they getting, David? I mean, seriously.
They're not getting what they wanted.
How can
the
they-
opportunities are being taken away from them.
How do they
that's the-
justify supporting a guy like Donald
They
Trump?
love Trump. You
Well,
tell me.
Let's tell me
it's
why.
Better,
But
it's
let's go
better for
clear.
me to...
Immigrants and minority groups do not support Donald Trump as a group. Are there individuals? Of course. But you're making my point.
There's a large
right?
group.
You sat in a room with immigrants who are coming to this country for all the right reasons, which is what the overwhelming majority of immigrants are. And
good
instead,
point.
My family,
we have a
my
president.
grandparents came from Italy. His grandparents came from Italy and Lebanon, right?
Right,
I mean,
that's correct.
So I
Exactly.
understand. But you know
So
what?
why are you
we never
demonizing
stood there
immigrants?
like this. We never stood there like that. We said, where do we get a job? Let me get a job. I
You're
want
not
to
allowed
support
to
my
work.
family.
Do you know the laws? You're not allowed
that's
to work.
a problem.
Then that needs to change.
That
But
needs
let me
to
tell you,
change.
let me tell you something. Immigrants who come to this country want to work on day one. And they're the hardest working people. They're creating the new businesses. We would have shut down schools in Maine. Maine's population would be decreasing if it weren't for immigrants. And it's the same as it was when the Irish came at the turn of the century, when the Jews came, when Italians came, when Catholics came. Every group
Immigration
that
has
came
been
in,
good for our country.
Derry has a
overall.
question.
Well, no, what I
Or
want to do
point.
is you've reached that impasse, which is what, that you too have reached that impasse. You are very well spoken, very well spoken. And what I want to know is, that is a big issue for you folks. When you were out there with Donald Trump, I want to know what other issues did you talk about in that room? The immigration, I understand that. I know where you stand. But what other issues did you talk about? Gaza? Did you talk about the economy?
What we talked about was simplifying the platform so that the average American, and I would challenge any one of you. I don't know if you've read it, because most people don't ever read a platform, but you read it and you see what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. It can't be any simpler. It really can't. And so if you look at it, he wants.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite in that platform? A couple things.
There's a few.
Can you tell me just a couple?
Well, I just think getting rid of the Department of Education is a really big thing. For
Okay,
right?
that's a
And
good
I am
thing.
all for it. I'm all for the 10th Amendment right. I'm all for
What about-
states'
what
rights.
about
I'm all for
tariffs,
parents
David?
being involved. Wait, let me finish.
Okay.
All right? I'm all for parents being involved in their children's education. You go to a school meeting now, and you're treated like a terrorist. They have cops standing there ready to arrest you if you stand and you talk past your 3 or 4 or 5 minutes that they allow you. It's not right. We had a PTA when I was a kid. Your parents were involved in your education. If the
still have
teacher
PTA.
taught you stuff that you didn't want to, they were fired. Now they can't even fire the damn people, right? So it's gotten to a point where it's just not working. So they need to revamp it, right?
Ethan,
Now,
I'd like to hear your
Well,
response
I
to
mean,
that.
I'm not sure what to respond to with all of it, but I mean, look.
Well, Department of Education, you agree they ought to get rid of it?
Yeah, of course not. I mean, education is the most important thing that we do in this country. In every community, well, let me finish my point now, right? So if you want to have a strong
Ethan, go ahead.
education system,
Yeah.
you need to make sure that at all levels of government, we are focused on education. And that includes at the federal level to make sure that even at the local level, right? It
They're
used to
meeting
be in this
certain
country that our
standards.
education was totally localized. And what did that look like? Segregated schools, looked like poor kids got in worse tracks than rich kids. And so we now make sure that from state to state to state, every kid in America gets a basis of education.
well,
And
okay,
everybody should
you want a
have
basis
that.
of education, right? So
Basic
let's
public
talk about the
education.
great state of Maine, ranked 50th in the country. 50th in the country for its level of education that the kids are getting in their schools.
No, that's-
They
I
were
don't believe that is
33rd.
not
Few
true.
years, it's a fact.
Based
Look it
on
up.
what?
Google it.
Based
Fact
on
check
what?
me. Fact
Based-
check me. All right. So
will, but
I would
based
tell
on
you,
what?
Ethan, you brought your
50th?
Yeah,
phone
but
in.
you have to tell me.
The
how
bottom
many
line
surveys,
is,
when I was mayor, I would get these surveys every day from a different magazine: U.S.
Yeah.
News, The
Yeah.
Economist,
Yeah.
People Magazine. Hey, Portland, the most fabulous, the worst, the best.
oh,
You
listen,
gotta-
I see them all like
give
you
me your
do
source.
too, right?
Give me your source.
I can't cite the source. I'll tell you to
Ethan,
check it out.
Ethan,
right?
that was
Okay,
really
let's
well
say the
done.
I don't
education-
believe
let's
that,
say this.
for
one
Let's
thing. It's a
say
fact.
the education in Maine is not
I-
what it
I'd
should
be shocked.
We can agree. The
As you should be.
Okay.
As you should be.
Can we
I
talk?
find
right?
that-
Dave,
Go
let's say
ahead.
the education
Disturbing.
in Maine is not where it
The
should be.
federal government is suing the Board of Education here in the state of Maine for not providing the services for children that are disabled. That's been going on.
We have had
It's
issues
been
of
going on.
responsibility.
It's
That's
been
clearly
going
a
on
funding
forever and
issue.
ever and ever. We've been
That
telling them to fix
happening
it,
all over the
and
country.
now
Right.
the feds have gone and filed a
David,
And do you think they're wrong to do that?
Yeah.
Well, I think that here's what I think happens.
Because you just said
Right.
the federal government should get out of education.
I
I'm
go.
saying
I
to
do.
you, the federal government should
But they're
be in
doing
education.
it. What I'm trying to do is make a point showing that we have a problem
just
with our
contradicted your
educational
point.
system. No, we have a problem here in the
Yes.
state of Maine.
Uh,
We
education
have
should be
how
better.
many kids in this in this system now? Like 160, 170,000. When I moved here, it was 260,000. So we've lost 80, 90,000 kids over the
we're
past
getting
25 years.
Right.
All right, we have an aging population here in the state of Maine. Look
And
at
you
how
know
old
the
they
only
are.
thing that's keeping us from losing more? Immigration.
Exactly.
Now,
in,
you
the,
can't,
in the city
I'm
of
not
Portland,
against legal
No fair.
immigration.
You
can't
are.
go back.
It's the Rundlett and Baldacci report. Go ahead, Mr.
The
Rundlett.
rule is you can't go back.
Yeah.
Can't go back.
All right,
David,
sorry.
you did a good job by giving me an issue. Does he take a position on this attacking by Israel Lebanon? Does he take a position on that? What's he plan to do about hopefully doing something about that?
Well, look, number one, if Trump was president, it probably never would have happened, all right?
Well, but
and
he-
if Trump was
he's not.
president,
That's-
we probably wouldn't be dealing with the situation we're dealing with in Ukraine either.
Okay,
So,
but what's he doing to fix it?
Look, Ronald Reagan was peace through strength. All right. The bottom line is that that's what Trump stands for. He wants us to be a strong nation, and he wants people to know
what's he gonna do
that
about
if
it?
you, well,
What's he gonna do about it?
of course
No,
he's going to.
go ahead.
Right. He said at the convention, he said it on air numerous times, that the day he's elected president this time, you bet those hostages are going to be released before he's inaugurated.
Dave, he
All right?
can
It's-
say whatever
Does he
he
say how
wants.
he's
There's
gonna
no
do it?
basis to
Does he
it.
say how?
It's like, here's what it is. I think the leaders of the world know that Donald Trump means what he says.
Okay.
And I think that the leaders of the world know that if Kamala Harris gets elected,
Her name's
they can do
Kamala.
any...
Kamala.
Kamala.
Kamala,
Kamala.
come on.
Come on,
Kamala.
David.
I don't
What
call
is
you
it?
by something different. so
Kamala?
Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala
It
Harris.
can't be that
Whatever.
hard for you.
Right, it is. So,
Is
Get
English
used to
your
it. It'll
second
be
language or
President
something?
Kamala Harris. pretty soon.
hey, if it is, it is. I mean, we have a voting process, and that's,
do.
I'll honor the vote. But
Well, you
so-
will, unlike
good.
unlike Donald Trump.
Let's not talk about history. Let's talk about today.
No, but
All
what he's saying now-
I
Go
believe
ahead.
that if that woman gets elected, that the world leaders are going to have. They're going to do any damn thing they want. You got the Chinese economies failing. They're looking what makes economies come back together. War, right? We're on the verge of war with several different places in this country, this world. You look at what's happened in Lebanon just the other day with all the bombing that went in there. You look at how Israel was attacked on October 7th. You look what happened in Ukraine. Do you think this stuff would have happened? You look at China positioning itself in the China Sea, all right, for Taiwan. And do you really believe that any of these world leaders would come and attack those, or go and attack those countries if Donald J. Trump
Why
was
don't you,
president?
Ethan, respond to that? I
you?
know
I
I've
mean,
got my
I don't
opinion.
think
Derry
that-
has
I-
his.
Sure. I mean,
Go ahead,
he basically said to Putin, "You're welcome to do whatever you want in Europe." Right?
Exactly.
He basically said to Putin, "You can do what you want if I become president again." So, I'm like, who?
Where
the
did you get
president?
this?
He
Out of
said
his
it.
mouth.
Out of his mouth. He said it, right? So
Okay.
look, we
Where's
can
a
speculate
fact
all
checker?
we
We need a
want.
fact
David,
checker.
I'm
Come
not
on.
sure you're
Yes,
not quite
he did.
that way.
Yes, he did.
Those
Yeah.
exact
Of course
words.
he did.
He
I'm
said
happy
he
to
can
pull
do
it up.
whatever
And
the
I think
hell he wants.
I got to talk about this because this really burns my butt, right? Here you got the president of Ukraine coming here, flying on an American aircraft, right, an American Armed Forces aircraft, coming into the base, bringing him to a bomb factory, all right, showing him our facility. Now, great, he's our ally now, but
I like
is
that
it-
guy.
right? I'm not saying I don't, but
Okay.
he's our ally now. But things change. They bring him into a bomb factory, and then we got these bonehead senators signing bombs, putting their signatures on the bombs because they know they're going to be used against Russia. What kind of a message do you think that sends to Putin?
That happened?
That happened just the day before yesterday. Yes.
Oh, so it just, I mean, this, so
Yes.
this just
cares?
happened.
I mean,
You don't
I do.
care? It's a message. Don't you understand?
message
These are
that
visual
Russia
messages
needs to be
Russia.
stopped.
Yeah. Look.
Absolutely.
What is the message?
You think Putin is afraid of Biden or Harris?
lost
I mean,
over
Or
not-
guys
million-
putting, I
a
don't like
million
them putting
soldiers in
signatures
this
on
war.
bombs.
They put our senators signed the bombs.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's
What-
like
okay.
in your face.
What party were
cares?
they?
I'm with
Democrats.
Ethan on that
Who
one.
cares?
Yeah, exactly.
care.
Ethan.
Why don't you care?
Why?
You're inciting. You're inciting violence, just like they
Inciting
incited
violence?
You're inciting.
We're
you're-
giving
no,
the
you're,
military
you're
I don't
saying
like
it's
the
not our
signing-
job to do
signing
that.
a bomb.
And just like they incited violence against Donald J. Trump, we've had 2 assassination
God.
attempts on Donald Trump. One
you don't say the
was a near
Democrats did
miss.
that, do you?
No, but the things that they say and the things that they encourage.
goes on both sides,
No,
though.
no, we've never told them to shoot Biden. We never told them to shoot Harris. We never told them to shoot anybody.
David.
He had an ad with a bullseye on it, for God's sake.
some of his people
said
have,
this guy
though.
has to be taken out. This is bad. This is really bad
Ethan,
for our
can
country.
you respond to that, please?
I mean, I don't really
Please.
know what to say to it.
I
Right?
know.
mean, we're
Nobody ever does, right?
Both presidential candidates have had threats against their lives and assassination attempts.
Yeah, it's
It is
equal.
disgusting that somebody got even close to killing Donald Trump, right? That is an
Twice.
extreme failure. Well, the second time didn't, but anyway, that is an
Both
extreme
of them
failure on the
failures.
part of the Secret Service. And that's what it is. And is the
I
rhetoric
agree
in
with
this
that.
country too violent? Yes. And I think if the Republican Party won't at least own some piece of that, when their presidential nominee, the president who was in office, told a crowd to fight 20 times before they went into the U.S. Capitol and has yet to condemn that attack, You have to
See,
own
you're
some
going
of
back.
the
It's all you guys can do
But
is
David,
go back into
you
this.
just
I'm
said
talking modern day history.
Well,
Dwight, this
even-
guy
I'm
got nicked
talking
in the
about-
head. If he hadn't turned his head, the back of his head would have been
David, you
blown
won't
off.
answer the one question I keep putting here, right? You keep talking about history, so I'm going to bring history. You're talking about rhetoric, talking about violent language. I'm giving you an
I'm
example
talking
of
the
violent
2024 campaign.
I'm talking about violent. Donald Trump at his rallies tells people
Even
to punch
today.
people, right? At his rallies, somebody's a protester. He says, kick him, right? He says it. So can you own at least a
No,
little
he
bit
just
that Donald
stops.
Trump's rhetoric might be a little bit part of the problem?
Okay.
But you won't. See,
no,
I'm happy to own anything. If a Democrat were to get out
Absolutely.
there,
Well,
and
you
say,
haven't owned any of this.
that
I
you haven't given
present.
me an example of a
well,
Democrat who went out and said, "Go and kill Donald Trump," who has any power
What's
in the
that
world.
black congresswoman from California that said, if you see Republicans eating in the restaurant, attack them?
I don't like. I don't. You know, David. let's agree. I don't like any of that.
I forget
from
her name,
anybody.
but you know who I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
we-
because
I
I
know,
know
it's
it's
no idea
disgusting.
who you're
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I mean, you can't do this. This is
David-
not the way our country
Right,
is.
but
You
both.
won't own that Donald
both-
Trump uses violent rhetoric.
Right.
You won't at all. You say no. He's never used violent rhetoric.
I think, no, not violent.
Okay.
No,
No.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. But
Maybe. I don't see it. I don't see it as
the
violent.
reason why-
I've watched, I've been at 6 of his rallies, been on stage with him 6 times. I watch the man work. I see what he says. I see the crowd. I see how they react. I see what they're saying. I mean, and I watched a couple on TV. I see it. I don't see him
Guys-
going out, let's tear down this
Okay,
country.
I wanna-
They want to stop our agencies from being used
All right,
against American
Derry, go ahead.
citizens.
This is a prediction show.
Right.
So I know you guys.
Yeah.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen of this audience, when this camera goes off, these two men
We'll shake hands.
laugh and joke and about other things.
Yes.
And you understand, folks. That's what I love about this show. The passion with which they have on their views. But what I want to do is I want to go to predictions.
Okay.
So I'm going to go. I'm going to go first. I'm going to say it's going to be Harris and Wallace. I think it's going to be a fairly not very close. I think it's going to be fairly sizable on the popular vote, and probably close in the electoral. I really think that they're going to, because I'll tell you why, David, because the press is all over her case like a cheap suit. She is the new golden girl, and
Golden. She won't answer a question. Lester Holt
But
was
the
appalled.
press
Let him
doesn't
finish.
care.
That's not what
he's saying.
The press
Let him
does not care. For a while,
I know,
it was
I don't
Trump.
understand it.
Every time that they catch you in the right angles, you understand that has
They're in the
great
corner. Yeah,
power.
they're in that
These
corner.
pictures. And by the way, the picture of Trump, one of the most iconic pictures in American history.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
making
that
a-
picture.
he's
I love that picture
grifting
because he was
off that
alive
as we speak.
I
As he
love that
should.
picture. But so I say it's Kamala and Waltz, and that's my vote. And you think it's going to be Trump by quite a lot?
Oh, I think my prediction is Trump's going to win the election. I think she'll win the popular vote. I think he's going to walk away to about 311. Is what I work these maps constantly looking
my
at.
God.
them.
You do.
All right,
311.
and so 311. I sent it to Rob.
Yes, you did.
My prediction. So
Perfect.
I put it in writing. So I believe Trump will win the election, and I say that because I watch the reaction to both candidates when they are in public places, and I watch CNN. I watch MSNBC.
Good for you.
I
You actually watch CNN?
I watch
No, you
Fox.
don't.
Oh, I do.
No, you don't. You watch a clip.
No, I watch.
I want to see. I want you to send me a video of you watching Rachel Maddow for an hour.
I won't watch Rachel.
I want to see that. You
No,
do
now
not
you're pushing
listen
it too far.
Now you're-
I
that's
love these
Lester
Fox
Gardner.
News people who
Right.
say, "Oh, I watch MSNBC."
No, but
Please, you see a clip on Fox News of MSNBC.
I watch them, Ethan. Too. So I want. They say keep your friends close, your enemies closer, right? I
you're
do
full
watch
of
them.
it,
And my wife walks in
Okay.
the house and she's like, "What the hell you got CNN on for?" I said, "Because I want to see what the hell they're saying." All right. So the night of the debate, what did I watch? I watched.
And you also tape them and watch them later.
No, I don't. No, that'd be. I'd probably lose.
Anyway,
on that
go
one.
ahead.
But I do watch because I want to
Okay.
understand what their thoughts are, and because I just can't believe how they can see things one way, and then we see things another way. So I try and look.
Welcome to
Where's the
politics.
difference
Yeah,
in?
exactly.
No, but in the perception.
Yeah.
Right? Like you hear Trump, say one thing is here, Kamala, whatever.
It's
whatever her
amazing
name
how
is.
hard it is for.
I know.
Like,
Well, it is.
You know, you went to good schools.
Yeah,
you can't be that
barely,
dumb.
but
You
yeah,
can't
right.
even figure
It's
out
a
how to say
difficult
somebody's
name.
name.
It's not about
Well,
being
he had a
dumb.
hard-
It's just-
Trump
it's-
has a hard time
I-
with Barack Obama.
Yeah.
He keeps using his middle name, Barack Hussein
Hussein.
Obama.
Well, yeah.
Well, I don't like that.
Ethan, what's your take?
Sorry, were you done? No,
No, go ahead,
You
go ahead.
were just going on where you were basing it.
Yeah,
so.
good. That's right.
Look, I think that I think it's going to be around 320 for Harris in terms
Whoa.
of, but I actually think the popular vote's going to be pretty tight.
Okay.
I think she will win both, but I think the popular vote's going to be tighter. I just think the way the electorate is this year.
You guys have really thought this out. I'm quite impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's going to win Pennsylvania. I think she's going to win Michigan. I think she's going to win Wisconsin. And that's a pretty hard block, as you would agree, to get through.
If she takes those, then it's over. But it's not
Right.
going to happen. Yeah.
You think he's going to win
I think he's going to
Pennsylvania?
win Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You guys
that'll
are
be the
coming-
name
It's
of
going
the
to be
game.
close.
But I
It'll be
don't
close.
think she's. I mean, I don't think she's going to win Georgia. I don't think she's going to have North Carolina. I think she'll get down there to try to get Trump into those places. Arizona, probably not, but maybe she's going to get one of those southwestern states. But I think she's going to have the Midwest block, and that's what's going to hold her.
I'm really impressed. I'm not just patronizing you guys. Yeah, this is what I was looking for.
Political junkies. What the hell you
I know,
want, right?
I know. We got our maps.
Is that right?
Yeah, he
Got our
must do-
maps. That
no,
is.
seriously.
I'll send you mine. You send me yours.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a government class at Bowdoin College watching you too.
Absolutely.
Rob, you're next, buddy.
All right. Well, my take on this thing is I would agree with Ethan, not surprisingly. But
No, you and I talk every day about
we
this.
do, and I think that it's going to be Harris,
Yeah.
and I haven't quantified it like Ethan has.
Yeah,
but,
well done.
Anyway, next race here in Maine would be the U.S. Senate, Angus King, David Costello, and
Demi.
Demi. So what do you guys think? Do you think there's any contest at all?
Oh, he's gonna walk away. With
I
it.
know you're a friend of Demi.
I'm a friend
Go
of
ahead.
Demi, so
Yeah.
in full
All right,
disclosure.
go
But
ahead.
the bottom line here for me is this: if Trump, if people vote the ticket, she has a shot. Right? She has a shot. Angus is running around in his motorhome, and Angus is everywhere campaign. And Costello, well, I don't think he's got a snowball's chance in hell.
No.
But so it's between
So you
Demi
think
and it's
do
between
you think it
Angus.
could be close, in other words, between
I
Angus?
think it is. There was
What's
a
your?
poll.
I
there was
get what you're saying. You're hedging awful hard here.
Yeah.
What's your prediction? Who's going to win that race?
I won't predict. I feel
Then
bad.
I know what you're saying.
Oh, 'cause you
don't
know-
wanna-
you know
That's
her.
fine. I've been in that.
Yeah.
I've been in that seat. Look, Angus is going to run away with that race.
Yeah, okay.
He will get 60% at least. Demi's going to barely get into the 30s. Costello's going to barely get over 10. She just doesn't have the money, right? She also hasn't made the case as to why to get rid of him, right? His
Right.
favorables in the state, as you would agree, are through the roof. Whether you like him or not, the guys.
How
got
you not like
favorables-
Angus, right?
Right.
I mean, it's like,
He's a-
so
right,
it's not
exactly.
like I don't like
and
the
his
man. but
favorables are around plus 30.
He's just too old.
Well,
Oh,
you
geez.
can come up
Oh,
with
my
whatever
God.
reason you want, but you
Oh,
got
you-
Donald
oh,
Trump.
you
Donald
winked at
Trump
him.
is
Good
just
thing
as
you
old
winked
as
at
him.
him.
Almost 80 himself.
But the thing that I would say, and you mentioned this, but I assume you.
Well, that's the argument you guys make about every candidate.
I know.
Right?
Oh, no, I don't
mean,
wanna hear that.
I mean, the Democrats. actually,
But
go
Dave,
ahead.
I would assume you're not saying that Donald Trump's going to win Maine.
I think he's going to take CD2.
Right. So
Okay.
when you say coattails, he doesn't have coattails down here, right? He doesn't. He's not going to carry. He may carry Demi a little bit in the northern part of the state, but he's not going to carry Demi because Angus is popular up there too.
That's good.
And-
That's going to be fun to watch.
And he's
Well said, Ethan. I like the fact that we all have like different opinions. First of all, the older Angus gets, the better he gets. That man has personified statesmanship in this state. Can we all agree?
Yes.
From the moment he was
Absolutely.
governor, and of course, well, Derry, he spoke at your Legends dinner, and you can't be objective. Well, I'll tell you, I can be because I watch everything that he does. And yeah, he's going to run away with it. God bless him for trying. God bless Costello for trying. But this man deserves another 6 years as our senator and as one of the best senators in the United States Senate, bar none.
Proud of him. I agree. Ditto. So, Shelley, Pingree,
Yeah.
any race there?
By the way,
who is she running against?
Ron Russell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Come
what
on,
is
you're not
what is
going to
his
predict that
background?
one either. He's a friend. He's a friend too. Come on, buddy. You're losing
Well, I know these
credibility
guys,
as a political
and
analyst.
I have a hard
What is,
time.
what is his
I
background?
know, that's, I understand. and I- that's
look,
I
fine.
wanna
you
hear
know
about
them,
him.
and you don't.
Who is he?
Yeah, who is he? What's he
Well,
do?
the guy's got an incredible biography. I mean,
What is it?
He was military, he was Green Beret, worked
That's
in
good. That's
Washington
big.
D.C., worked in the Pentagon, did
Wow.
all kind. I mean, he's been government contractor, he understands how all that works. He's got some really good street cred. So, again, you're dealing with.
He's going to lose by double digits.
Look.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
At least he tried.
I'm impressed.
I'm not. There is nothing in my playbook.
I haven't
about
seen what
anybody-
Shelley Pingree does, and I've lived in this state for 20-some odd years. I don't know how long she's been a congresswoman, but I haven't.
A long time.
Since 2008.
Too long, as far as I'm concerned, right? I mean, so it gets to a point where you need
Kinda like
fresh
Susan-
blood.
kinda like
the way
Susan
the
Collins.
Constitution
A little
was.
bit too long.
Well,
Yeah.
I like Susan plays both sides of the fence here, so she should satisfy a
You
lot
just
of
said
people
that
on your
Shelley's
side.
been in there too long.
right?
Susan's been in there twice as long as Shelley.
Has
And
she?
Susan said she would only be there for 2 terms.
Two terms,
right.
yeah, I remember that.
Shelley
yeah.
How many is she on? The
Yeah.
seventh now? Seventh term?
Listen, I'm not
It's a long-
a big
Oh.
fan. I'm all for term limits. So I think
not
we
a
need.
fan of
I
term
think we need. Oh, that's why. Why?
Because
why,
you give all the
if-
power to the
if you-
lobbyists.
So then you're saying that you want fresh people in, but you can't. Once these
I
people
didn't
get
say
in,
I want fresh
it's-
people. I want good people.
Yeah.
I want the people to be
Yeah,
able to
good
choose
This is
who
good.
they want.
I like good people.
All right,
Right.
second CD, Golden, which is going to
Austin
get some
Terrio.
attention, and Terrio.
Yeah, Austin. I think he's got it.
You do?
Yeah, I think he's got it.
Oh my goodness.
Ethan, what's your take on it?
This is a place where we're not going to disagree. I think at the moment, if the election were held
Really?
today, I think
Oh, yeah.
Terrio would win. I mean, see, I'm willing to go against my own. You
My
can go
God,
against
I
your
am
own.
so amazed.
Now here's what I would say.
He's
though.
ran a hell of a campaign.
I have to admit-
I don't know Terrio very well. I will say, in a recent poll that came out in which Golden was up, which Terrio was up by 3 points. The thing that was amazing to me is that usually at this stage of the race, Golden's around 45, 46, 47, exactly where he was. But the Republican is usually around 35, 36. Terrio's all the way up at 47 to 44. And a quarter of the people don't even have an opinion about him. So that made me feel like this guy's got to be doing, the people who do know who he is are voting for him for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And there is this Donald Trump pull that's going on. Usually the second CD splits, right? Golden wins and Trump wins.
Right.
That's
Right.
kind of what's been going on.
Yes.
This time it doesn't, it's, Trump up there is at 49, Austin's at 47, Harris is at 42, and Golden's at 44. So we're seeing a little more parallel, and that's where I think Terrio might.
I think Terrio's got it.
I'm going to put one caveat in that.
Go ahead.
It also feels a little bit like Gideon against Collins, in which Gideon was up in a bunch of polls, and then Collins in the end took it away. I
Bill
could
Green.
see
I say Bill Green.
Bill Green was a big.
It's a big factor.
That was a big,
It was a
big
big
factor.
factor, man.
It was
Thank you.
huge.
Thank you for that. My
It
God
was
Almighty.
huge. I think there were a lot of
You
Democrats.
were glad about that?
What?
You're glad about Susan Collins going back?
No, but I like Bill
am.
Green. And
Oh, well, that's
and
what
by the way,
happened.
if
Bill's a good friend of
and
our
yeah,
families,
and Bill
too. We
knew
grew up
her.
together.
So if
just went to a
I
baseball
had,
game
if
with
I
Bill
had
Green.
a
Good guy.
dear friend, I have a fraternity brother, ran for lieutenant governor of New York on the Republican ticket. If that friend said, Derry, I know that you usually do, would you come down and endorse me as my fraternity brother on TV and tell what I would say, absolutely. So when Bill Green did that, he did it with his conscience. And I don't think Bill knew himself that he would.
What an impact it would have.
What an impact. Bill Nimitz and I agreed on that. I think Bill said, sure, I'll do the ad. He just thinks he's Bill Green by everybody.
Yeah, he's a pretty humble guy.
He got
Yeah,
so
I
much
don't-
crap for that, though. He did.
he took
and,
a lot
and
of
my
crap for
brother,
that.
I remember my brother John, because Billy grew up in our neighborhood and we went to school together.
No, of course I wanted
Worked
Gideon.
for
Ben
Billy
Gideon's-
worked for our
Yeah,
family
Ben Gideon's
in the restaurant.
a dear friend, and Sarah. I was going to go to work for Sarah.
God
If Sarah had been, no, I would have. If Sarah had been elected, I would have said, I've always wanted to come down and work at the Senate. And
You worked for Muskie, for God's
Yes,
sakes.
I did, and I loved it down there. And I would go down there in a heartbeat. I'd take out the laundry. I'd go pick her up at the park or something, whatever she.
Well, that's history. Susan's in.
Well, that's
Right.
true.
Yeah, but the second CD and watching Golden, because my brother was a congressman there 4 terms, very conservative district, but I don't think John ever sacrificed his democratic principles like Golden has in a lot of respects.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
Trying to appease everybody.
Trying to come out as an independent.
Really, really, and I don't think that's earned him any accolades with
If you look at
either
that,
one.
Democrats.
If you look at that poll, Golden's favorables have dropped 20 points since February.
Yeah.
And you can't, in campaigns, not much of the campaigning has actually really started until probably late August. So
Right.
that's mostly self-inflicted. And I think that's because he's refusing, coming out and saying it'd be okay if Donald Trump gets elected president, not endorsing Harris. Basically, another issue where
Not
I'm sure you'll
endorsing
disagree
Harris,
with me.
you're right, big thing. I thought that was big.
When
Yeah.
he flipped on the gun on the assault weapons ban,
Yeah.
his favorables went up in
Sure.
CD2.
Right.
But he's done nothing about it since. And so he's taken the heat from your side for flipping. Legit, that happens. And my side is like, hey, wait a minute. You said you're with us, but you haven't done anything.
Right.
And I think 6% of Democrats up in that district are still undecided. And if you got
I'm
6%
surprised
of
it's
Dem-
only 6%, Ethan.
well, some of them are well, I don't think many of them, I can't remember where some of them were in that race, but for him to he needs every Democrat he can
Yeah.
get up there, right? There's
He needs every vote he can to pull it off.
2% of
He's like,
Republicans are undecided.
I got to
It's
tell you, when you
rolls.
drive around up there, you see
lot of Trump signs.
as many
Trump
Trump
Oh, yeah.
signs as you do in Florida.
Yeah, you do.
Go driving up to Presque Isle.
Well, it's funny, you cross that line, like I have a place
Yeah.
in Lincolnville, so I have to drive through Camden.
That's right.
Right, and I drive through Camden, it's like Camalaville.
Oh, you got it
my
right,
God.
man. You're
Right,
there.
I'm getting it. So, and then I get into Lincolnville, and it's Trump territory.
There you go,
right?
yeah. All
So,
you have to do is
it's
cross-
just, and you
cross
just
from
cross that
Rockland.
line, and it's that different, that apparent. So, look, I think this is, when you guys
You
organize
vote
that.
up there or down here?
I vote down here. All right, I always have.
That's good. That means your vote gets wasted.
Yeah,
I like
I know,
it.
right.
You vote up there, you actually have some impact.
Well, when you
When
guys
they vote
want
here, we crush
Don't
you.
get Ethan. Don't give me any ideas.
I know.
when the Democrat Party decided they were going to form a coup against their duly nominated presidential
right.
candidate, I
Oh,
thought,
boy.
well, I mean, Jesus,
Nothing matters to them
Look, I
anymore.
mean, your party
They
tried to
just-
do a coup
they
against them,
just-
and
they
you
just-
failed.
they
just
we at
wanna-
least did a better job, right?
They
Yeah,
just
we
want to
did.
get. They just want to.
You guys tried to do a violent coup. We did that, and you failed.
Sounds like you're whining,
Let's
David.
abandon the
Are we
process.
whining? Are we whining? Or
No,
that,
I just thought it was kind of obvious. It was telltale. That here you go. That's Joe. Hey, listen, we're done with you, buddy. You either get out of here. We're going to Article 25. You make her president, and you're going to be out here, and you won't get a presidential library, right? So then, now, so he's like, oh my God, what do I do, Jill? And so he gets Jill, and Jill's.
Where'd you put the little tin hat? Is that like over in the other room?
Yeah,
He's sitting
I know,
in your
I
little
know
cons-
it.
He's just like going with these crazy conspiracy
Tin hat or
theories.
not,
I
but
wish it was
the
that
bottom
easy,
line
but
is that
anyway.
man, that woman has been
Good for
that
Jill
woman.
Biden.
That woman.
That woman, what's it?
The Vice President of the
Kamala,
United States?
has been complicit in the cover-up, a major cover-up on the mental capacity of that president for I don't know how many
Oh, my
years, right?
God.
So that tells me a lot about her.
Oh, how about
she
this?
would do anything
How
to become
about
president
this?
of the United
How
States.
about
Boy.
if that was all planned, all an act? I'm going to hang on. And somebody really brilliant said, you know something? If we just spring her in the last week of August, right? And he suddenly comes to senses. She's got no time to screw up. So that idea came from somebody who goes, okay, Joe, just hang on for another day, okay? And then you're going to capitulate, okay? And
Where are you getting this?
You guys are
me?
both wearing these.
Oh my
you guys
God.
are both wearing your tin
I
hats.
was going to
today.
say, where'd you
this-
get that?
I know.
I think
From
this is
me?
going to be the
Let me just be clear.
Strimling and
It's two
Baldacci
guys-
show
yeah,
from now
exactly.
on.
You guys are like,
I mean,
we're sending you over to.
Yes,
I know.
that's
I
the-
know.
that's
the-
Dorothy and
Jones.
Dick.
That's the
Report.
movie I'm writing.
Love you,
That
kid.
is the movie that I'm writing. When they go, what really happened?
That's
I go,
kinda
yeah,
wag the
some
dog.
political operative like Carville goes, I'll
Yeah.
tell you, you wait until right about July, and then you spring it on them, and then
Okay,
so
but that
How do
did
you
not
explain?
happen.
How do you explain? On July 19th, she had an
David, are
approval
we actually
rating of
having this
28%.
discussion?
Yeah.
Are we actually
Yeah.
having this discussion?
Yeah, I don't see
This
why
is-
not.
This
It's
is
important.
ridiculous.
This is
Well, I
your
brought it up.
nominee.
Yeah, you did, and it's your show. Okay.
I have something for each one of you guys that I think you really want to wear with
Is it
pride.
as good as the pin
All right?
you
Is
got?
it a Trump one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Because you're going to need that on
Listen,
November
I want a
5th.
close-up.
All right.
I
Thank
want a
you, but
close-up
I
on
want
yours.
Ethan
Yeah.
to show his socks.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
that right
okay.
there.
Yeah.
Barack Obama
Ethan's got
sock.
Obama
Barack Obama
socks.
sock right there. Greatest president in American history, right there.
Okay.
Look at
So
that.
my
All right, what do you want me to
and he
do with
still
this?
is,
This'll be
right?
good, you know, I
He
just-
is. He still is.
I'm not gonna- I wouldn't
I gotta
put-
clean my teeth tonight, so this will be helpful.
Yeah,
I'll
but
be able to
listen,
get
I want
Or
a close
file
up.
my nails.
I want a close up of David's that beautiful. What's that?
Oh, yes.
What is that animal?
It's an elephant, of course.
It's called a,
It's not a jackass.
it ain't a donkey.
We do need to get rid of that one.
I tell you, this has been more fun
Yeah.
than any show we've ever done, and there's some serious topics that we have.
By the way, where's my prize? At the last show we did,
Yes.
this guy said that Donald Trump was going to be found not guilty on all charges
yeah,
in New
that's-
York.
well, he
I
was.
the
Oh, my
only
God.
one who said he's going to be a
Ethan.
convicted felon on all 34 counts. The only one.
You
And
were the only
Where's my
one.
prize?
But your prize is that the United States Supreme Court stood up and said it was a big crock.
Please
Everything
catch
that
this.
they were
No,
doing.
those-
and
those-
this is-
those-
case, by the way.
Those
but-
convictions
Ethan,
still
this is your
stand.
prize because I'm going to tell you something. I'm serious.
Then why did they postpone the sentencing?
I'm serious.
Because he's the
Because they
judge
didn't
who
want to
wants
Ethan, you did
politicize the
call it.
sentencing. That's
You
why.
called it. I said, not guilty. Da da da. Dee, dee,
Yeah.
dee.
You said hung jury, I think.
No, he
No,
said.
I-
hung
I
You
jury.
said hung jury.
That's
But
right. You said
Ethan,
hung
I said he's
I'm
guilty,
so
but it's a hung
impressed.
jury.
That's right.
I'm so impressed because, I thought, hey, hung jury. I was convinced, and Ethan, you do get the prize. And the next
I
time
was
I
shocked
see
Hey,
you,
just
when that
remember,
came
even a
through.
clock that doesn't run is right two times a day.
no, that was a good
I
guess.
think this is the prize again.
There's your prize.
This is my Trump
Right?
2024
Yeah.
pin.
Yeah.
This is the prize I
No,
got.
it's just.
I
you know.
wanna
All right,
talk-
can I ask one more prediction question? 'Cause
Please,
where are you
sir.
saying
Yeah,
the
I
state
know.
house
please.
going?
I want to talk about Vance.
Well, that's gonna be tight.
I want to get
They're
to
spending
Vance.
a lot of money. Things are moving along, and
Talking
you know,
state house, like a House
Okay,
Senate.
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Senate is currently 22-13.
Yeah.
Where's that going to land?
It's going to be close.
It'll be closer. It ain't going to be 22-13. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think Democrats are still going to. It's going to be.
Yeah, it's
still going to
looking-
have
Well,
nice.
Why,
I-
why do you feel that way? Ethan?
It'll be a little closer. I just think that there's going to be some of those. We're going to.
Yeah.
Troy's district is very tough to.
It's
hold
a
on.
presidential district election year.
In the
Republicans
second
are going to come out to vote when they normally don't in the midterm elections.
Ds will as
right?
well.
So, you know,
Now the
yeah.
House, I think, will be a little closer, but I
Yeah, there's hopes on the House. I think we'll see. I mean, like anything,
Hope on your side,
our
yeah.
state elections are
So
really
if the
funny.
House goes Republican,
Yeah.
is it going to be Laurel Libby or is it going to be Billy Bob?
Yeah. Good question.
Because that's all the scuttlebutt on our side of the aisle is like the two of them don't like each other. They're like,
That's not true.
trying to
I know
figure out-
both Billy Bob and Laurel. They're both, they're
who'll be the
very
speaker?
driven. I think it'll be a real contest amongst the Republicans to decide who.
He's so political, man. Come on.
Because he's friends with everybody.
No, but Billy Bob, you gotta love the guy, right?
I like Billy Bob.
He's a great
He
guy.
deserves it. I mean, he's
Yeah.
been the majority leader.
Yeah, and he's worked his
as a
tail
side
off.
minority
Laurel's also, on the other hand, she's really put
She's
this.
crazy, man.
Well, she's put together, and she
man.
put this dinner table thing together, raised lots of money. She's working hard on the voter
Rio.
ID. Along with that, she's building a coalition, a really strong coalition. So but I like Billy. I like them both. But I think people like Billy Bob. As he's more
I think,
personable.
I think
Cover
if
him
you
all,
guys
we
win
did
it,
it.
he would have the.
I think we've covered it. But do you, in terms of looking at the few remaining weeks before the election,
Yeah.
do you see Trump or Vance coming up to Maine?
Yeah,
And the
good
same
question,
with you, Ethan.
Rob.
Do you see Harris or Walz coming up? Or is Maine
I don't
just
think
not
he's coming to
important?
Maine.
You don't think so?
No. If I were Donald J. Trump, I would not be campaigning in Maine.
I got a
would
question
be
for you.
campaigning in all the battleground states as hard
Not
as I
even
could.
in the second
I would
district?
devote all my time. If I had time to make a quick jump over, yeah, but if I was running that race, I'd say you go really hard on every one of those battleground states and you don't leave any rock unturned.
David, this morning on Spectrum, they said that what he's doing is he's now doing podcasts because he wants to get like the young males.
Yeah. He
And
is.
so I'm
Young
gonna-
males?
young males. And I'm
Why
asking.
not young people in general?
But basically, young males that would listen to podcasts.
That's his voting base.
This is specific. So my question to you is there any chance whatsoever that Rob and I and you could have 5 or 10 minutes with him?
Huh. It's like trying to get an audience with the Pope right now.
I know that,
Right?
but because of the podcast thing, and because we are reached by a lot of those
I
folks,
doubt it very much. We had him on the show, on Ray's
had him.
show,
You had him on.
during the New Hampshire primary, and we talked about.
long did you have him?
He was on for 15, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
right? And so we had him on the show then, but and he was talking about coming back, but we know where the fight is. The fight isn't here.
Did you get to see him very much personally while you were out there?
Just when he was on stage.
So in other words, you weren't hanging around and
no, he had just got shot the day before.
He wore the diaper on his ear.
Well, as he should
Whatever
have,
it
right?
was.
He's lucky he has the ability to wear anything on his ear.
No,
right?
no.
Right? So I know you like to
nothing
suggest
upset
that.
me more
Right? But the bottom,
than him being shot.
he called into the platform committee when we were meeting, and we talked to us about what we were doing. And then on stage, you saw, if you watched the convention, it was.
I thought he did a good job.
I think he did a
Oh my God,
fantastic
he did
job.
a terrible job.
He did an incredible job.
I mean,
Right.
I'm talking.
What was? I mean, I understand.
I wouldn't expect you to say anything
He's not
either.
trying to convince you.
Look, I mean, people across the
The
spectrum
guy just
have
gets
said
shot for Christ's sake.
No,
Across
listen,
the spectrum said he did. I'm not saying there's no value to him
He
one
was,
way or the other, but as a
he was
political
a monotone.
analyst,
He didn't. There was no
the
energy.
first 15 minutes of the speech were okay. It was good. It was a little bit too much about sort of him around the shooting, but then he just kept wandering off.
Well, I think what he did about the
spent 90
shooting,
minutes in
I think what he
every-
did about
It's
the
called
shooting
the
was
weave. It's called
really,
the weave.
really appropriate because he
didn't
said,
say
"I'm
it
going to
wasn't
talk about
appropriate.
this,
Yeah.
and I really don't want to talk about it anymore." And he outlined how he felt and
And
what
he spent
went
10,
on,
15 minutes on
and
that.
which was great. And then he went
went
on.
for another 75 minutes.
Yeah.
Lost his. I'm just saying from a political analysis. Lost it. It was as bad.
I
as
was in
Bill-
the hall. Nobody was lost during that speech. We weren't getting
It
bored.
We were all
Right, but it
mesmerized
no-
by
it
him.
doesn't-
We're not
I-
mesmerized.
Yeah,
We're just.
you are.
That's
no,
why I
it's
said
not a matter of.
David,
It was a good
it's
speech.
funny why
It
you
was a
want to
good
use those
speech
words.
because for those guys that love
But Derry,
him.
the speech
Yeah.
is not for them. The speech is through the camera.
No, but he
The
doesn't-
speech is to the American people. Right.
Which he did.
I've been in that room, and I've seen fabulous speeches.
Ethan, he
and then you
wasn't going
walk
to convince
outside,
you no
and
matter
then
what
pe-
he said. He wouldn't have
He's
convinced
not
you no
right,
matter
but I'm
what he
talking
said.
about as a political analyst. When Republicans and Democrats across the board have said what he
I didn't
did
see it that
didn't
way.
work.
Did
Right?
you watch the debate? And what
Oh,
did
yeah.
you think about the debate? Who won the debate? Who lost the
That's a
debate?
good question. I'm glad you
I'll
asked.
tell you
we
right
only
off
got
the
8
bat.
minutes.
Kamala Harris won the debate. She was prepared. She didn't
Kamala.
answer a single.
You almost got it.
Kamala.
She
You've been
didn't
Kamala.
answer
We're
a
gonna keep
single
her-
question, right? Not one. She deflected on every single answer.
not true.
Whatever she said, there was 25 documentable lies she told
that's
during the
lies.
debate. 25 documentable lies during that she
No,
made
that's not
during that
true.
speech,
That's
and
not
they
true.
were fact checked. But you're smart. Look, you can
Go ahead, you
All right,
yeah, and then Ethan will have
they
his shot.
They argued with Trump and fact checked Trump for every word he said. I was really disappointed in David Amura. I've had the opportunity to meet him when I was in Cleveland, and he seemed like a really nice guy. I've watched him. He seems pretty like in the middle. When he had the chance to be a Tim Russert, he sold himself out. He absolutely
He dared to fact check a
no,
couple
no,
of
no,
outrageous
no.
lies that
It
Trump
was
said?
it was just the way that he did it. All right, he could have been.
I thought he was very-
he could have been the next Tim Russert. He really could have been. He blew a chance.
Tim Russert would have gone above and beyond.
I think
what
Tim
you
Russert, you
did.
never knew his politics, right? You never
He
knew
was
Tim
not
Russert's
afraid
politics.
to
He
call
was-
people on their
reporters-
shit.
He would
and
call him
journalists-
out. That's exactly right. He would call him out, ask the question, get him to answer it. Muir and whatever her name was, Lindsay Davis or Davies, whatever. The two of them they were arguing with Trump. They're not supposed to argue with Trump. They're supposed to ask the question, let him answer, and then go
What
to
do
the
you
next
mean
one.
on that show?
On the debate.
On a debate. It was
Ethan,
horrible.
Ethan, what do you think? Get your
journalists are I think that journalists who don't fact check politicians are failing to do their job. I don't care what the setting is. If a politician, if
fact
they
check,
says
absolutely.
a demonstrable lie, which he did, they fact check him, and that's okay. There were no now. Look,
But why wouldn't
do
they
either of them
fact check her?
tell me what the lie was that they didn't fact check?
You said
There's a list.
25.
There's
No,
25
there
of
isn't.
them
Give me
online.
one.
But that's
Just
the point.
one.
There isn't a blind. There are things that both of them were stretching things to make it more to their point. I'm with you on that, 1,000%. But when you say that people are eating cats and they aren't, that's a lie. Or when you say that
I
people are
laugh at that
executing
one.
I
babies,
couldn't believe he said it.
when you say that people are aborting babies after they're born and they aren't, that's not illegal anywhere in the United
There's
States.
8 documentable cases of that.
It's not. Is it legal anywhere in the United States?
There's 8 documentable
Yeah, but
cases.
Those are
I don't
murder.
think
That
that's
was-
illegal.
That was
I
murder.
don't-
That
I
was
don't
murder.
think
That's
that there-
murder.
It's not.
It's
there-
murder.
There's
And
not.
he stood up, and
and-
God bless him for doing it.
Well,
God
okay.
bless him for doing it. I'm against late-term abortion. I think it's a horrendous act. I think the idea.
I'm still waiting for you to tell me what the lie was. I've just told you what the 2 lies were on his case that they corrected.
I was
What
raised.
were the lies?
I was
that
raised
she's-
in a middle-class neighborhood, and we loved our lawns. And she was just
We love that.
That's your
What?
demonstrable lie?
but, you know,
Wait a
she lived in a brick mansion, all right, with her father, who was a Marxist professor, all right, and she lived
come
with a
on.
silver spoon in her
Come
mouth,
on,
for God's
come
sake.
on.
Oh,
Come on,
right?
oh my
David.
God, David.
So,
Hey, what did she say? I lived
Okay,
in
if
what
that's
the
your
hell?
if that's
No.
your demonstrable
No,
lie,
no,
then
she
She worked
I'm
at
out.
McDonald's.
I'm out.
Yeah, she
Look,
worked
you
at
asked who
McDonald's.
won the debate.
Yes,
I mean,
go
it's
ahead.
obvious who won the debate. I think even David agrees
Yeah.
who won the debate. And you can even tell because when Republicans start attacking the moderators, that tells you that they know.
Exactly.
And
Oh,
you at
that's
least-
a can-
that's right.
You at
yeah,
least
yeah, yeah.
admitted that she won the debate. But
I said
but
it,
I think
right? Yeah.
it doesn't. I think we get too into the who won, who lost, who gave a good speech.
Yeah, right.
The ultimate question is who's going to be better for the country, right? So
Trump.
it doesn't matter to me who won the debate or who didn't win the debate. And I think we'd be all better served. You and I would be better served if we focused on who's better for the country and why, as opposed to the.
All right, why don't we
political
end it?
I'm not
Let's-
going to ask. I'm not
David.
going to ask you because
Yeah,
I know the
and
answer
very,
to this.
very
But
smart of
how
Trump
do you
not,
feel
not
about
to debate again. Very smart of him not to do another
Because
debate.
he'd have his ass handed to him.
No, no, you didn't
We
want
got
to get
5 minutes left.
How do you guys feel, all three of you,
Go ahead.
about taxing unearned income?
Over $100 million.
I just
do you
just
mean?
answered the question.
What do you
Over
mean
$100 million,
What do you
I'm
mean
in.
unearned income?
Over 100 million.
What do you mean by
Over
unearned
$100 million,
income?
I'm in.
Unearned income. Your stock goes up, it's worth more money, and now you got to pay tax on it whether you sold it or not. You actually haven't realized the gain.
I say you shouldn't tax people on that.
All right, that's
Why?
what she wants to do.
Why?
That's what he would
No, no, no.
want to do.
100 million.
Because it affects me personally.
Well,
that's
That's
First
why
of
he
all-
can't
No,
be
no, no,
governor.
no. You have $100 million in the bank? You have $100 million in stocks?
Now,
right
let me
now?
think. Let me think.
Yeah, count the numbers, count the
It's going
zeros.
to take me a minute.
Yeah, right.
What
Let's be
about
very
increasing?
clear,
What about
because he
increasing
just-
capital
Yeah, go
gains?
ahead,
He
Ethan.
he just tried to claim that she's going to your pension, right, or your meager little savings. She's talking about taxing it on people who have $100 million.
Right.
I haven't heard that
or
once
more.
come out.
That is part of the plan. All you
that
got to do
is-
is read
that's
it.
part of it.
$100
It's
million.
a part of
Now
the
let me
plan,
ask you.
Dan
So you're
Fogelberg.
opposed to taxing unearned gains, right?
Absolutely.
So are you opposed then to property taxes? Because property taxes are on unearned gains. They go up every year, and you pay more on them. You're in the real estate industry.
I think that the way they calculate property taxes here and in all states is not fair. I don't think any one house should be more taxable because it has a view or it has a waterfront or it has. I mean, so
It's not. Everybody's taxed at the same rate.
no,
It's
they're
taxed on the
same
value of your
millage rate,
property.
and they use calculations to figure what the value of
Value
the
of your
property
property
is,
is.
right?
So if a guy lucks out and has a house on the ocean,
He's up the creek without a paddle when it comes to taxes.
Can I ask a question?
No, but that's an unearned gain. So it's taxed.
Ethan and Dave, while we're talking about the economic proposals for
Right.
both candidates, Trump is pushing tariffs as his answer
I
to
believe in it.
restore the economy. Every economist that I've read, and there are over 400 that say that is a disaster for the economy, and one reason why they're supporting Harris. How do you rationalize his plan to jack up tariffs as a way to
And penalize companies that want to leave and manufacture outside the United States and not create
that's
jobs.
his plan. He keeps
Right.
talking about I'm going to tax China. I'm going to tax.
Are you a free market capitalist?
I am a free market. I like fair trade.
Well,
Now, if you're talking about
so you're not a free market capitalist cannot
believe-
support tariffs because tariffs are government intervention in the economy to try to influence the free market. So if you're a free market capitalist,
But if
which I
the
thought you were,
regulations are such that they don't allow a free market, then it's impossible anyway, right?
no, but tariffs
So
are antithetical.
when
of free-
Trump
if you
became
want to make it a
president
free
last
market, you
time-
get rid of all of that.
When Trump became president last time, there was 97,000 pages of regulations. When he left, there was 61,000 pages. He got rid of 36,000 pages.
And
Biden
our,
got
our
back
economy
in.
is worse for it, and our environment is worse
how
for
could
it, and our schools are worse for it.
How can you say that? The eggs are two and a half
Well, that
times
doesn't
what
have
they
to
were.
do with the regulations he
Milk,
got rid of.
Of course it does.
Has to do with
What
green.
is energy? Let's talk. You want energy? What drives everything in our world? Energy, electricity, gasoline, diesel, oil,
there's a lot.
That's a line
propane.
out of a
right?
musical.
Right?
So
So
I think
that's
there
the
are more
problem.
important factors than that, but okay.
Yeah, no,
Energy
that
very
is the
important.
basis. That's
It's the
what
Wizard of
makes
Oz.
everything. It makes the world turn here in our world.
guys, we've got a little over a minute left.
Yeah.
Why do you feel Trump would be better? Just 30 seconds. Why do you think Trump is better for our country?
Yeah.
And Ethan, finish.
Yeah, and then we're going to close. Go ahead.
Right. bottom line, Trump is a businessman. He understands how money works. He knows how to make the economy work. He's not afraid to take a position. He will answer a question when somebody answers it. And the world leaders would feel like they're in a better place with Donald J. Trump. They know they'd be held accountable for what they do in this world. So the bottom line for me is that Kamala Harris, I think I got it right.
Nope.
Kamala Harris, all right, hasn't held a job in the private sector. Her only job is McDonald's. And even that we can't verify.
All right.
Okay,
Ethan.
Ethan.
Look, I mean, we already know what a Donald Trump presidency looks like. We know what a Biden and Harris presidency has looked like. We have some of the lowest unemployment rates. Stock market is doing very well. Inflation has come back down.
Yep.
We've had now 4 years of economic growth, quarter after quarter after quarter. There's a lot of work we still need to get done. There's no doubt about it. But what we're seeing in our economy, we don't want to reverse that. And we want to make sure that we treat everybody equitably. We want to make sure that we understand that we are a country not to be divided, but a country that be brought together. And she's much more interested in that.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Gentlemen,
Excellent.
I
Both of
learned
you.
one thing, Rob, during
Yes.
this show.
Yes, sir.
All three of these guys are smarter than I am. Okay.
All two of these guys.
Well,
Are
too.
you think I'm
included.
smarter than you?
All three of you are so brilliant. Listen, folks, we'll see you after the election and see whose predictions
Please vote.
were right.
Please vote.
Vote Trump 2020.